This is Texans TV.
We go inside the helmet with the man on the mic, Christian Kirksey.
Hey, it's going to be a great season, brother.
And get to know defensive back and return man Desmond King II. Texans 360 starts now.
We are ready to rock in Houston. Rock and roll.
Guess when you think you've seen it all, there's always something else.
Welcome into Texans 360. It's a big week for the Houston Texans. Jacksonville just around the corner as the 2021 regular season gets away to kick off here very, very soon. I've got my good friend John Harris, football analyst, sideline reporter, because we've got lots to get to as far as the offense of the team, what it looks like, the defense of the team, what it looks like. Lots to get to with a new roster, and that brings us to the news of the week, Johnny, which is the fact that we finally have a 53-man roster.
Absolutely. It feels like it takes forever to get here to the 53-man roster, and then when you think you've got the 53-man roster, here's a tip, never write the 53-man roster in pen, ever. Ever. Should always be in pencil. I got a feeling like some things will still happen, but it's nice to kind of pare down and start thinking about Jacksonville.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I think with all the new players that arrived into the stadium this offseason and in training camp, we just really didn't know what the 53-man roster was even going to look like. Johnny, I know we're going to get into more specifics a little bit later on, but any big standouts or surprises from some of the new guys?
I don't know if there were a ton of, this guy, but I just felt like the guys they brought in fit really well. I think about Vincent Taylor and Malik Collins on the defensive line, Jordan Jenkins. The way they play. I know this word is going to sound bad, but in a football context, it's good. And it's violent. They are violent on a football field. They're quick. They're twitchy. They're disruptive. I felt like the guys on the lines they brought in are that way. And on the offensive line, it's that way too. Justin Britt, I feel, is that way. He's got a wrestling background. That really comes through the way that he plays that particular position. And I think there's going to be a big upgrade on both the defensive line and especially at center with Justin Britt joining the team. And
it seems like the rookies that have joined this squad this year have really made an impact early and in preseason. Now, can they build on that into the regular season? Nico Collins, Roy Lopez getting a sack in every game. I mean, there's been a lot of excitement around these young players, and usually there's not a lot of expectation. So what can we expect from some of these new guys once the regular season gets underway?
Here's one of the things, and I actually saw Nico Collins, I think maybe first or second day, and he had a really good day. And I just walked up to him and I said, just please be here every day. These rookies have stacked good day after good day after good day, and I think it's really made them viable candidates to get on the field at some point in 2021.
Yeah, there's a lot to be learned from some of these veterans on the team, like Christian Kirksey. He's very vocal there in the defense. He's a linebacker. He wears that green dot on his helmet. And we got a little taste of what Kirksey's saying in that mic every single week. Take a look at his mic'd up.
Chase greatness today, man. Chase greatness today. You know what's good, baby. Let's go. Go back, baby. So back to let's go.
First down and 15 for the Buccaneers from their 11-yard line. Brady under center. Ronald Jones, the lone back. Brady hands off to him, and he's blasted by Grugier-Hill for a loss.
Let's go, boy. Let's do it again. Have some fun. Let's go. Hey, let's go, man. Hey, this is what we bow up, man. Hey, let's see what we made of, man. Right here.
Gets the snap. Pocket collapsing, throws over the middle, and it's intercepted. Brooks across the 30, 35, and brought that at the 37-yard line.
Hey, what? Come on, boy. Let's go, boy. Come on, boy. Let's go, boy. Come on.
Third down and 8. Buccaneers at their 6. Gabber, trouble with the snap. He falls on it. Loose ball, end zone.
Should be a safety.
Should be, and is the deuce for the Texans.
What? Let's go, bro. Hey, can't move. That handshake gangster, bro.
First down at the 14-yard line. Ball on the ground. Texans say they have it.
They do.
On the exchange between quarterback and running back. Ball on the
Yeah,
turn
Kamu.
inside the 11. Houston has it. Grugier-Hill with the recovery. Over the middle he goes. Caught by Nico. Takes it in. Touchdown, Houston.
Kamu! Get on me! Good way to end that thing. That's way. Hey, it's gonna be a great season, brother.
49-yard field goal here for Borregales. And it's blocked. And it's picked up. Brooks, left sideline. Throws and caught. Touchdown. Jordan VC with the reception.
That's all I'm talking about. What? Hey, man, look. We got to sharpen up some tools, man. Get ready for the season. Hey, I see y'all. Jacksonville, baby, game 1. Hey, we got to have a full-packed stadium. Let's get it.
I think if there's ever going to be a hype video for Christian Kirksey, that has to be it, because I got hyped watching it. His handshake with Grugier-Hill, I think a lot of big plays from those two. I love seeing the linebackers come together. I know Kirksey had talked about this being a very linebacker-friendly defense. How do you feel like the defense has fared throughout this preseason?
Well, I think the one thing that really stood out was their ability, in particular, stopping the run. And I talked about the defensive line earlier, but I think it's also because of the linebackers. And the thing about the linebacker crew, other than Zach Cunningham, everybody's new. Everybody on that roster was new. Even the guys that got cut and removed for that position were new. Gary Wallow, a rookie, bunch of vets, free agents, and Zach Cunningham. And you put them together, and it sounds like a bouillabaisse that is not going to work. But when you see them all together and you see them run and you see them in Lovey's system, you realize, hey, this is a pretty good group of linebackers. So from the front seven perspective, I thought violence level went up on the field, of course, but the speed. You saw Grugier-Hill a number of times shoot the A-gaps, stop runs in a couple preseason games. You saw Christian Kirksey, I did a telestrator, I think last week, against Dallas, and how the sack by Jacob Martin came to be. And it really was because Christian Kirksey was fast enough to run with CeeDee Lamb down the field that the quarterback had nowhere to throw the football. He held it longer. Jacob Martin then got there and had the sack. That was all a result of Christian Kirksey playing in coverage and doing things that previous Texans linebackers really couldn't do. I mean, he was running step for step with CeeDee Lamb down the field. So you have more speed. You've got a ton of veteran leadership. I think you've got a ton of veteran smarts, and you've got the ability to drop into coverage, read quarterbacks, and explode in front and make plays. That, I think, is what we really wanted to see from linebackers. Now, we've had in the past some good linebacking crews. I think with the group you have now, you have guys that can run, shoot into the backfield and make tackles for a loss, or drop into coverage and help that secondary out as the front four gets to the quarterback. We'll
get to the secondary in a second, but what about the takeaways? I think that's just the overarching storyline for Lovie Smith's defense. We'd heard about it all throughout the offseason, and they eclipsed their 2020 total of takeaways in 3 preseason games. Johnny, your thoughts on that? How much can they build on that? How much do you think that's sustainable once the regular season starts? I think it all fits together, and it starts with the defensive line. Like I said, you've got to have all 3 pieces working in concert with one another, and I don't know that that was the case last year. The biggest thing is just the focus on going getting the football. Jacob Martin said something to me after the game. I thought that was interesting. He said, I didn't just go for the sack. Coach Lovie tells us that's selfish. Go get the football. But to get 10 takeaways in 3 preseason games, look, sometimes turnovers and takeaways are just luck, but when you put such a focus on it and you get them, you start to believe you can get them every single week. One guy who's been really good at takeaways throughout his high school and college career, Desmond King. I'll have a one-on-one with Desmond King coming up, Johnny, and I want to get your thoughts on the secondary as well. Absolutely. It's all coming up on Texans 360. Welcome back to the Ford Studio. Texans 360 rolls on. John Harris and I discussing the 53-man roster, all the new additions, all the key pieces as the Texans gear up for the 2021 season. Johnny, one guy that we haven't talked about, Desmond King, did a lot of great things in the preseason because with Andre Roberts out, you saw him on punt returns, you saw him on kickoff returns. You also saw him back there in the defense, which is a place that we're going to see him in week 1 when Bradley Roby's out. What are your thoughts on Desmond King and what he brings?
To me, first of all, he's one of my favorite players ever. I mean, I was watching him from his days at Iowa, and I just loved him. I mean, he's just a true football player. And he plays a really difficult position on defense. I mean, he plays the nickel position where sometimes he's blitzing, sometimes he's playing the run, sometimes he's covering somebody, sometimes he's dropping in coverage. He does a lot of different things. But he's such a darn good football player, and he has a nose for the football. I think getting Desmond King is going to help this defense in numerous ways, and I can't wait to see him play.
All right, he's a darn good football player and a darn good interview, too. I had a chance to catch up with him. His career has taken lots of turns, even in 2020 alone. We talked about all that and his expectations for this year's defense. It's Deep Slant 101 presented by Xfinity. My guest today, Desmond King II. Desmond, week 1, just around the corner. How excited are you for the season to start?
Man, really excited. You know, preseason went well for us. I feel like we played together, we made plays offensively, defensively, and special teams. And, you know, just kind of want to take that momentum we have from the preseason into week 1. And we're just very excited, you know, to actually start the regular season of the NFL 2021.
You said the preseason went well. I think that's a little bit of an understatement for you. You had a great preseason, both on defense and as a returner. You know, when you signed here this offseason and you headed into camp and preseason, what was it that you wanted to show these coaches, and how do you think that you accomplished those? How do you think you did?
Knowing that, you know, I'm going into my 5th year in the NFL, just kind of wanted to show these guys that I wanted to develop this leadership role, you know, with this team, and knowing that I'm new here, not just being somebody that, you know, they brought in, but being what they want in that player, you know, and that's being a leader, being a vet, you know, and leading the right way and leading from the front and doing the daily, you know, things. And that's the way that we want here. You know, we want to build this family. We want to build the right team, you know, for each and everybody to, you know, lead. Like that's what we kind of want to build as a culture.
When looking back at your career, both high school and college, it seemed like you've always had a knack for getting to the ball. You set a high school record for the most interceptions. You set college records for most interceptions. Now you play for Lovie Smith, who this is literally what he talks about every single day is getting takeaways. So how does a guy like that make you better at getting more takeaways when that's something that you've actually done really well in your career?
Just consistently thinking about takeaways, you know, and that's how you create that mindset of getting the ball, you know, getting the ball out. Whether if it's a forced fumble, a punch, or whether if it's an interception, you know, picking up a fumble, you know, just running to the ball. You know, stuff like that is very important because you never know what can happen when the ball is in the air or when the ball is on the ground. You know, you could just simply run to the ball and then the ball is a fumble. You pick one up and you can take it back for a touchdown. You know, those are big plays that we look for in our defense, and I feel like, you know, that's what he preaches and that's what this defense is based off of.
You haven't returned the ball in 2 years?
In about 2 years,
So
yeah.
in preseason, that first preseason game, you had a 43-yard punt return. When was the last time you returned a punt before that?
2019.
Really?
Against the Denver Broncos, I had a touchdown.
It's like riding a bike?
Yeah.
Returning
man.
kicks?
Yeah, I love it. It's amazing.
What's easier, or what do you prefer? Do you prefer
I
kick
prefer
or
punt
kickoff?
return.
Punt return? Why is that?
Only because, you know, all right, so the thing with punt return and kick return is the more set-up return, you know, you have to go this way. You can't go another way.
Yeah.
So I think punt return, like, yeah, it's a set-up return, but you can also set the return yourself. You can set up blocks, you can make cuts, you can see more than just a kick return, because the kick return, you literally go one way. If you go the other way, there's nobody there to block for you. So as a punt return, you know, it's more spread out, and guys, you can set up blocks for them that can, you know, open up a gap for you.
I know you've talked about being really vocal and getting everyone organized back there.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about your role back there.
I mean, like I say, you know, it's the same thing, and that's what's so important about that nickel position in this system, this Lovie Smith defense. The nickel back is another linebacker, another DB. You know, that guy has to be vocal for the guys that's next to him and the people that's behind him, because we want to make sure everybody's on the same page. And I think that's another reason why they brought me here, to do that. And that's, you know, that's what I want to come do. I want to be here. I want to lead the right way. I want to lead from the front and make sure that our defense is set in stone. And let's just keep rolling, man. Just go.
Let's keep rolling. I like it. Always a pleasure. Desmond King, best of luck this season. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Coming up, John Harris tells us what to expect from the 2021 Texans offense. That's next on Texans 360.
Generating turnovers is about doing what he wants to do, tack the football.
Justin Reed kicking off for the second time tonight. Good kickoff from the 4-yard line. Going to work is Vaughn, and Vaughn is out. The ball is out at the 22-yard line. Texans pointing in that direction again.
Like he's playing at their free safety position. Ow. Ooh, that's nice. He got in there a piece of it. I think it was somebody else darting in, but how about Reed sticking his nose in there right after kicking off, man? That's pretty darn impressive.
Welcome back to Texans 360. That was a fun night. Justin Reed on the kickoff and the tackle. I know we want to see Kaimi Fairbairn back, but you know what? I'm very happy for Justin Reed. It's something he's lobbied for this entire offseason.
He has, and I have such a hard time with this, because I love safeties. I played safety. I hate kickers. Sorry, Kaimi. I hate kickers. And there's one in the same body. So it was good to, listen, in today's NFL, to be able to find something else that you can bring value to be the backup kicker if you need it, it's great value, Justin Reed.
All right, well, the one place he didn't play was offense, so we'll keep that separate for Justin Reed. Defense, special teams, not offense. So let's talk about offense. We've got Tyrod Taylor, and we saw a bit of him in the preseason. You know, what do you expect from him? Now we've got the wide receivers locked in. We've got the running backs locked in. You've got 5 on the active roster, 5 running backs and 5 wide receivers, and you've got Tyrod Taylor. So what do you sort of expect from this offense?
Well, I think with Tyrod Taylor, the first thing you got to realize, there's a calm, soothing kind of poise that I think is going to permeate through that offense. I've seen numerous times where Tyrod has been the guy with not only players, but also coaches like, hey, we're all right, we got this. I think that's going to help more than anything. Just being able to execute at a level in which we don't get stressed. Hey, what'd they just do? They did this. Okay, well, we're going to counter with this. As opposed to, what'd they just do? And you start panicking when those things happen. I think he's going to keep everybody calm, cool, collected. I think he's also got the ability to move out of the pocket. He throws pretty well on the run. I think there are going to be some things that you're going to be able to do with Tyrod. But let's be honest, this thing is going to be about the offensive line and this running game. They want to run the ball. They want to pound the rock a little bit. I have no problem with that. And they, like we said earlier, they've made some additions on both sides of the line. Justin Britt being the one on the offensive side of the line, where I think they're going to be able to browbeat some people with the heavies they have up front. You know, Titus Howard, Laramie Tunsil, Justin Britt. Those are guys I don't want to mess with in an alley street fight. Those are going to be guys leading the way for these running backs, whoever is going to be carrying the football. And I think they've got plenty of depth in the running back room to run behind those guys. You saw it in the games, all 3 games, but against the Bucs. You saw Charlie Heck pulling around, leading the way for Mark Ingram. You saw the physicality that group played with, and led by James Camp. And I think the offensive line is really going to tell a story of this offense for 2021.
Yeah, and we heard David Culley say it a few days ago. Running back by committee, so a lot of different backs are going to be involved. That offensive line, seeing Titus Howard move back over to the left guard spot, and then Marcus Cannon, who could or could not play. We've seen him working on the side field, trying to get healthy, and he is healthy now for the start of the season. How does that impact the offensive line? You want the best 5 on the field. Yeah. I mean, is it going to be a situation where he just needs time to get used to the system? And how about Charlie Heck holding it down on the right side?
Yeah, the good thing is there are options. There's depth on the offensive line, and I don't know that we could always say that. I feel like there are guys up front that can move people off the ball. I don't know ultimately where Marcus will end up. Guard, tackle, I don't know. I feel like when he's healthy, he's one of the top 5 linemen on this particular team. So I think there are some things that you're going to be able to do with this offensive line. Now, what that looks like September 12th versus what that looks like October 31st versus what that looks like in Week 18, you don't know. And obviously injuries can play a role. But they don't have a lot of youth up front. They got guys that should be able to set the tone for what they want to do offensively.
All right, well, coming up, Jacksonville at Houston. You can get tickets at HoustonTexans.com. Go select tickets. Tickets are still available for that week 1 opener. You're not going to want to miss it. Coming up, the Texans welcome home some military heroes. That's next on Texans 360. Welcome back. One final segment of Texans 360. Well, as we get ready for the regular season, the Houston Texans welcomed home some very special guests from overseas. They were out at Hobby Airport, and it was a fun day for all. Take a look.
Greeting soldiers that have deployed to the Sinai on a peacekeeping mission. They've been gone about 10.5 months, and there's a lot of excited families here ready to greet them, and we're really proud of the job they did overseas.
He's been away, I think it's about 10.5 months. It's been kind of hard. It's been not as hard as I expected it to be, just because we've had a lot of support from my parents and his parents. But I am ready for him to come home. I'm ready for him to cook me dinner and to help take care of my son.
You know, when a soldier deploys, the hardest part is when you come home, you want them to feel like you really did something. And when you come home and there's a greeting with all these people and cheerleaders, and the whole city of Houston turns out and says thank you, it means a lot. And I just want to say thanks for everybody that turned out and supports us.
No, just good to be home. Yeah. Thank you for your support, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Those welcome backs are always so heartwarming, Johnny. Love to see it. That's a little bit of a tearjerker.
No
you know, it is. It's always great to see them come home. And you know what? It's great to see the Texans come home in week 1. Johnny, you will be there as well. You can catch this guy on Sports Radio 610 on the sideline, always giving the best coverage, I think, from the sideline. No bias here whatsoever. And if you want to be at the game, you can still buy tickets. Go to HoustonTexans.com and click on tickets and get your tickets to the season opener. Should be a good one, Johnny. Trevor Lawrence, Urban Meyer, Jacksonville, AFC South opponent. I mean, what more could you ask for in week 1?
I mean, it's a great way to start the season, and hopefully at the end of it, 1-0.
1-0. And that will be a great feeling. Hashtag that football feeling if you're at the game, because you know what? We want to see your tweets. We want to see your pictures. We're so excited for the start of the 2020 regular season. We're so excited that you're back. Thank you so much for watching Texans 360. And as always, go Texans.
Thanks for watching, and go Texans. Like, subscribe, and ring the bell for new content.